Hi everyone. Okay. So, I've been watching YouTube and I saw a video that Mannix did on libertarianism and why he calls himself a libertarian or whatever. It's a very political video. I wanted to make a video on something else or other topics, but frankly this is the one that inspired me, so why the hell not make this one? I'm a fairly political person, I'm a fairly political-minded person, and really the only thing that I can talk about at great lengths with some level of knowledge and understanding is politics. So, I have gone on record, I feel, on YouTube, that stating that I am a liberal. I guess in some way I could also be called somewhat a social democrat, and in some ways a socialist, and in some ways a communist, really. But the one problem with words is that we don't understand, and when I say we, I mean quite a few different people, and even, like, no one really understands it, but there's a lot of power behind words and branding certain things. And in the United States, there is a huge level of branding between the word liberal, which was essentially turned into a naughty word by Ronald Reagan. The word liberal has been turned into essentially whatever people don't like about the left. It is ultimately a left-aligned word, and that's not really different. It's just that there are some liberals, like John Locke, who are libertarians. And in fact, libertarians and liberals are not very different from another. Liberal doesn't inherently mean someone that all too cares about the well-being of other people. In fact, in politics, if you look at social democrats or socialists, they're the ones that tend to really, really care and want to preserve people and save them and all that crap. There's one thing in life I learned is that you can't mother people, even if you care about them. It doesn't work. People gotta learn their own lessons and they gotta take their own knocks. It doesn't mean you can't be a nice person that wants to listen to them, and I don't think that the situation would work out as well if they didn't have someone that was listening to them or providing some well wishes. The truth is, you can't save people, and there's no point in doing it. Because there's a lot of lessons in life to learn, and people have to learn them on their own. So in some sense, I might be a social democrat, but I don't really think society should go out of its way to take care of people, to pretend like we're some womb and that we're caring for our children. The whole point of life is being alive and growing up, and that means even society can't nurture or cradle people, nor should it. So, I am in support, though, of social programs that benefit the poor. And I am, when you say that, you don't mean anything in specific, really. But there are some things that people can take advantage of that rich people can't. And in Mannix's video, he talked that the wealth redistribution of tax dollars that the rich are paying more, that's wrong, because they can't take advantage of some of these things. Truthfully, a food bank doesn't exclude anyone. A rich person can't go to a food bank because they don't need to. They can just buy food and it's a lot more efficient for them to do. In actuality, they can do it. I know people who worked at soup kitchens. I know for some reason, some rich people actually showed up there and ate at soup kitchens. Someone described a disorder to me that's somewhat, I can't remember its name, but essentially people that do that are just completely focused on saving money. So yeah, some rich people actually do go to soup kitchens. It's fucked up, but they do it. So, charity isn't for the poor exclusively. Now, some programs do require people to just not be making a certain level of income. This doesn't exactly exclude them so much as it is they don't need to do it. And that's why I don't think it's wrong to tax rich people more than the poorer people, because it would make no sense. It'd basically be like saying, poor people should pay for their own programs. If they could pay for their own programs in the first place, they wouldn't really be below the poverty line, now would they? That's not really the definition of poor. It doesn't make any sense because, in some sense, rich people do benefit from these things. Consider the economy, something else I study. The economy is doing poor when there is no aggregate demand for things. Aggregate demand comes from everyone. When you want to go buy food, when you want to go buy electronic crap or all the stupid shit we always buy all the fucking time, that's aggregate demand. And that is made up a lot more of poor people. They are more likely to spend their money, and a larger percent of their money, than rich people are. It could be the reason why they're poor in the first place, but let's not get into that. The truth is that aggregate demand, the reason why, not exclusively, but essentially a component of the economy's health, is dependent on people wanting to buy things. It's also dependent on investment and government expenditures. Now, investment, yeah, we can go into that, but most importantly, government expenditures makes up part of this equation, and so does consumption. If we have programs to support the poor, not only are they free to spend more of their damn money on other things, increasing consumption, but it's also possible that the government is spending more money, thus helping the economy as well. This is part and parcel a component of Keynesian economics, and even the most classical die-hard economists cannot deny that aggregate demand is a serious component in economics, at least in the modern study. So truthfully, rich people do take advantage of this crap. If we have programs in place, safeguards, automatic stabilizers is the official term, then the economy is doing better. And it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. When the economy is doing better, everyone benefits from that. So the reason why I support a lot of programs is not because it takes care of people or it's some weird motherhood issue. It's because it just makes good sense. When people aren't buying food because they don't have the money to, they're not doing very well as a society if that's the case. There's an old saying. It comes from Europe, I think 1800s or so, that the law states that the rich nor poor are not allowed to sleep under bridges. How often do you think a rich person back in that day is going to be sleeping under a bridge? Nothing at all. It's a crime for someone of any socioeconomic status to steal a loaf of bread, rich or poor. How inclined do you think that rich person's going to steal a loaf of bread? It's illegal for rich and poor alike to break into someone's house and to steal their VCR, to go sell to some pawn shop so that they can feed their crack addiction. It's illegal for both of these socioeconomic status to do this. How likely do you think a rich person's breaking into someone's house to steal their VCR to get crack money? Now, I know there's a lot to be said for that point, but truthfully speaking, a lot of things apply to the middle class and the poor that absolutely don't apply to the rich. Specifically, most of the law. And it's not because they don't break these laws, it's because they're smart enough to get around them. In the United States, if you're rich and a celebrity, you don't have to obey the law. Even in Canada, if you're some ex-minister that gets caught with prostitutes and cocaine in his car for speeding, which, by the way, happened, you don't have to go to jail. People of higher status in society don't have to obey the law. Our society's social contract is broken in the Western world and in any other part of the world, for that matter. So when people complain that rich people get taxed more, it doesn't matter if they earned it or not, in my mind. It's just one level of society. The truth is, everyone gets fucked over. So why the hell do we want to benefit someone that's not of our economic status? I know that sounds rather shallow, but why the fuck do I care what happens to rich people? Honestly. And in my mind, that's the most libertarian thing you can think.